Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to our final day of Overwatch PIT North America Group A action. I'm LD. I have the honor to be joined today by Joshy. How you doing, Joshy? Joshy, he's here. I don't think he can hear me. Let me double check. Not a problem. Okay, so guys, we do have a triple header coming up today. It's LG.Evil taking on Selfless to get things started. Following that will be Gale Force versus Complexity, and then to round out the day, Rise Nation versus CLG. So should LG.Evil win this opening match, they would actually win the group, as the first tiebreaker is head-to-head potentially. Now, where it could get messy is if Rise Nation also goes 4-1, then I believe we have an A beats B, beats C, beats A scenario. So, Joshy, are you with me? Okay, this is getting weird. Apologies, guys. Let me just give you a second here. Let me try and get the microphone fixed.
Hello?
Hey, Joshy. Okay, yeah. You might have to mute Skype on your end. I'm not sure, but
Done. Muted.
in any case, guys, welcome to day number 5 of Group A for the Overwatch PIT Championship. Sorry about that. I am not a professional producer, but doing my best here. We've got LG.Evil take out Selfless to open the day, Joshy. This could be for first place in the group. Where things get really interesting is if LG.Evil wins this, suddenly they're tied with Selfless, both 4-1. Rise Nation potentially could also finish 4-1, and then three-way tie for top of the group.
Well, there is a lot on the line, at least as far as seeding is concerned, pride and things like that. Obviously, Selfless Gaming want to hang on to their undefeated streak. LG.Evil want a chance to say that they're the only ones able to beat Selfless Gaming, and then seeding versus those Group B opponents, of course, is going to make actually players saying they're maybe not ready. Anyway, yeah, great matches here ready for us today, even if the group has already been determined for who's going to playoffs. I think there's still going to be some great matches.
Yeah, and could be a preview of how those playoffs are going to go. I mean, coming into Selfless versus Rise Nation, I think most people had Selfless as favorites, but I felt like Rise Nation still at least had a chance. And to be honest, they got bodied pretty hard. So, we'll see. LG.Evil maybe gives them a bit of a closer run for their money, but the records can be deceiving sometimes when it comes to head-to-head matchups.
Well, either way, our first best of three of the day might probably be the most competitive in the entire group. I think Selfless Gaming versus LG.Evil is one that a lot of people have been waiting for. So I'm excited to get started with some high octane action. Of course, Selfless Gaming have gotten a lot of notoriety recently for a great win streak that they put together. They won something like 5 tournaments in a span of 10 days just not too long ago in the month of February and March. So LG.Evil, formerly Bird Noises, also were winning in that same tournament circuit before they kind of got signed and moved around from Hammers to LG.Evil. So both of these guys, both of these teams, very, very well aware of the other. I'm sure they've played together a number of times, not just in tournaments, but also scrims and things like that, just to keep tabs on the other one. But I think they should be well aware of the strategies coming out from each side.
What are your expectations for this head-to-head? Do you see Selfless as heavy favorites? Do you think LG.Evil is a decent shot?
Well, Selfless have been playing phenomenally. I think they've only lost one map in this entire group so far against a lot of other talented teams. So just momentum-wise, I think Selfless Gaming do have the edge. LG.Evil have been looking a little shakier toward the ends of some recent tournaments. And this group here, I didn't expect them to lose to Rise Nation 2-1. Of course, again, that's not a slight against Rise, just I thought LG.Evil was kind of running on all cylinders up until this point. So just in recent history, I think Selfless Gaming might have a slight edge. And Dorado is a full payload map. It is the first map in the series, and it was not chosen by either team. I think Selfless Gaming, they really like Dorado. They have a what's sometimes called the selfless defense, where they just kind of shove up into the spawn area of the enemy team, knowing that they'll get back in time because they like to run super fast characters. So there's actually a whole composition that's been referred to as the selfless comp recently, because every player on Selfless is just so adept at those heroes that they like to play every single game.
Yeah, the spawn camping, we saw a little bit of it, I think especially in the first season of Apex, but it definitely wasn't like a go-to strategy every game. But as of late, other teams have started to adopt that selfless playstyle. So I'm excited to see something different. We didn't see much Dorado the first 3 days at all. I want to say like maybe once or twice that I can recall. So definitely a less commonly selected map by the teams in the group.
Well, Dorado just in general, I think, has evolved quite a bit in the last few months. Defense-wise, every balance patch, of course, seems to change up what we actually see on offense and defense, which then kind of shuffles around those popular defending positions. It used to be high ground was all the rage. Then some teams actually just allowed teams to go through that first checkpoint uncontested completely. And now Selfless have found this composition that allows them to be aggressive right at the beginning on defense. So just as a map, it's one of my favorites, to be honest. As a Pharah main myself, I actually really like Dorado, so I'm curious if either team is going to bust out the Pharah to get started on attack.
All right, well, with that, guys, we're ready for our opening match of the day. It's LG.Evil taking on Selfless. Let's go ahead, hop into the game, enjoy the soothing sounds of Dorado. So, looking at the initial hero picks for Selfless does look like very much their stock and standard lineup, as they are going to be starting out on defense here. We've seen sometimes Sinatra mix it up a little bit, but like I think on the third day he occasionally was not playing the Tracer, but generally speaking it has been the same 6-hero composition like at least 90% of the time, I want to say, for this team.
Yeah, and this is that Selfless comp that I mentioned. Basically, Dufran's Soldier is just so good. Sinatra, of course, is extremely skilled on the Tracer. One thing with Tracer, though, is that she can get actually pretty exhausting. You can fatigue pretty quickly when you're playing 100% Tracer the entire time, just from keeping yourself alive against these skilled opponents can be incredibly taxing. So sometimes Sinatra will switch it up, actually, just to take a breather, so to speak. But on the attacking side, I guess nothing that they've locked in actually is going to be what we see on coming out of the doors. I don't know why teams still love to do this. They love to pick compositions just to mess with the casters, but as the doors start to open, you can see really what they're working with here. Train is going to hop on the Tracer himself, so I'm curious to watch the Tracer duels that are bound to happen here.
Yeah, so Jake actually did use the Sonic Arrow, which sometimes we haven't even seen players do that. Now he's going to leave the base, heads out as the Pharah Mercy mentioned, and we'll see how much damage he can get done early on, poking. Just a little bit. Super farther forward on the cart, trying to find a good, clean opening to move forward. Is very cautious about that Dufran Soldier especially. Finally starts to focus out above the rooftops, but kind of a staggered offense. It seems like they were expecting to get dove really early and only now starting to move further out after that initial scouting.
Yeah, I think both of these teams should be well familiar with each other. You see Winston leaping up there, just trying to push them back a little bit, not necessarily trying to knock them off or anything like that. And Kresnik is actually going to be the first one to fall on the defense. Winston, super on the attacking side, is down now. The cart is still under control of the defense, though. Jake and Train have moved over to the high ground to try and push these healers and tanks away.
They both already have ultimates here, Dufran and Sinatra, but they're not going to get to use them. Jake, with a great flank, snipes to Hawk, brings down Dufran, is going to remove that tactical visor from potential fights. So it's up to Iman. Sinatra trying to stall, but Jake, 2 direct hits again. Drills Sinatra, finishes him off, and now can assume a more forward position. I don't even know if they're going to be able to get back, and if they do, it won't be an easy fight with Jake already having the high ground position here. It looked like a great initial start to the defense with those 2 early DPS ults, but they haven't gotten to use them yet, Joshy. Let's see if they make a hold here. Here comes the aimbot.
Certainly can get in there. Attack visor, you're right. Dufran does find Jake immediately, but also gets killed off by Vol. There's a big res on the attacking side to get Jake back into play immediately. Since Dufran is gone, Pharah's going to have a lot of abilities to just keep this guys under control. And there's the barrage onto Sinatra and Iman, both going down.
Oh, great offense still, but holding strong on the card, at least for now, is Kresnik. They're going to bring down the Lucio, and now just the Soldier getting back to the fight. But this time, Dufran, all he can do is try to stall here. Hooked again. Vol making big plays, had 3 crucial hooks in that fight to easily secure the push, and with that, already through the first checkpoint at a great pace here on Dorado.
4.5 minutes, lots of time to work with, and I did expect to see Jake's Pharah come into play, and he actually did an admirable job on it. He's going to boop Michael 3D right off of the high ground, so they are going to be stalled a little bit on the defense, not in quite the position they wanted. Fortunately, that cart does take a long time to get through that choke, and now the battle will begin.
Winston just poking up on the high ground. Jake trying to use the vertical space of this map as well as possible. Iman tries to head up to contest him. Haven't seen Dufran able to get onto this the Sparrow too much as he had good boop away to try and keep the Reinhardt off of his team, and still now locating Defran, trying to work on him. Cut out position again. It's the hook from Bull. Just keeps on finding these DPS players on Selfless, allowing them to potentially move forward. Another pick for him. This hog out of control, but he needs a little help. They will have pretty close spawns to the cart. Seems like on his own he will be finished off. Man, Bull doing so much, but the team getting picked off in the meanwhile. Now, they committed Earthshatter for that fight, but still quite a few ults ready for this next round of defense as they try to push towards the second checkpoint.
As staggered as that defense was, it worked out pretty well. It burned over a minute off the clock just to get the payload moving around the first bend here, so they really couldn't ask for too much more. Now the spawns are actually starting to favor the defense a little bit. This is a great place to hold, and Sound Barrier comes out from Dak on the defense to try and keep the cart under their control. Sound Barrier on the attacking side now, plus Vol's Whole Hog might be enough damage coming in. Defran's attack visor actually going to take out Mercy, so that's something to keep in mind. Jake collecting 2 kills with the barrage, and this is still anyone's fight.
Defran fragging out here might be enough as Jake jumps onto him, tries to finish the jump, missing on the rocket, just juking to the left, to the right, still can't quite touch him. Finally, Jake will finish him off. That's a big kill. Sinatra, though, able to get back into it. Initially lost the duel there with Train as he did not get the Lucio sound barrier, but able to come back in time. Unfortunately, dies again, and they're going to commit the res just to ensure they push this thing through without any more stagger.
Res right at the checkpoint. You don't see that every day. Emong's going to fly right at the cart as D.Va to try and slow it down. Pulse Bomb catches Kresnik and flattens the Reinhardt, so the attackers are at an advantage now. Still no one going down, though. Healers on both sides doing a great job, but Vol, the attacking Roadhog, goes down, and this gives defense a chance to come back.
Yeah, Defran is being pressured heavily, though. He'll end up falling in the tunnels as Jake gets back out on top of the cart. Still the D.Va proving a nuisance. Nails Sinatra in turn. Jake proving to be quite the problem here for Selfless with 2 minutes to go, pushing firmly towards the second choke point. Now, finishing this map, Joshy, is not easy, but they're in a decent position to do it.
Yeah, they've got 3 minutes, 21 seconds. They got to make sure to push that cart up to the door or it'll never get through, but they had no ability to really push up into the defenders here, so the defense does have plenty of time to set up, and Selfless, we know how they like to play it. They're going to rush straight at the cart and contest as much as possible. That's a big reason they're winning so much, and finally the cart is going to get through that little doorway. We've got an Earthshatter coming out catching nothing. That's not great.
Not a good way to start the fight. Jake has a barrage available, moving into position onto Michael 3D, does get tagged, not dead yet though, is Pocket Mercy keeping him in fighting shape. Meanwhile, Sinatra, he has swapped off of the Tracer onto the Hog. Will he find the opening? Jake letting the barrage out, he finds 2 kills, and Sinatra still looking for a hook. This is how you hog, says Bull. He takes him down, can keep this payload moving forward as they essentially wipe out the entire defense, but now this is going to be the hard hold. Defran has a nano visor to work with. They also have a sound barrier. This is a lot of DPS being pumped out, and as far as defensive abilities go, Joshy, they do have a res.
Well, props to Jake, just being able to get as many barrage kills as he has this game. There's a nano visor from Defran to engage the fight. It's kind of interesting. It gives the attackers a lot of time to run away, but Avast still can't get out in time. Lucio is going to be down. There's a res coming in to pick up Lucio. He must have a sound barrier. That's actually a defensive sound barrier coming out, and the attackers are going to get squashed.
Yeah, so they blew their own sound barrier. They do win that fight, 2 minutes to go, and the res was committed. But essentially, almost every big ult now off the table. You have a whole hog, as well as a primal rage. But other than that, no support ults to work with for this upcoming fight, and really nothing close. As I say that, Defran, yeah, he used the aimbot last fight. He's already up to 60%. He does such a great job at charging the ult quickly in between fights.
He's just really good at tracking targets on that soldier. That's why you see him on there every time. He's perfected it. But we've got Jake's Farah and Mercy combo with Rob 420 coming in over the wall, trying to find targets. But actually, was that a whole hog already? Sinatra is going to be on the Roadhog here, collecting 2 kills already for the defense.
Looking for Vol. He will get hooked, finished off, but then in turn, Defran is there with the cleanup. He's going to have a tactical visor for the next fight. They have to reset. And now Selfless, not content just with getting those kills. They're going to push back all the way towards the attacker spawn, and yeah, this next push, all of a sudden, you might have a nano visor. You definitely have a tactical visor. A D.Va ult coming out soon. Some great stalling ultimates available potentially over the course and towards the end of this next engagement. Whereas for the offense, they got nothing. The highest percentage is a 58 on the Lucio sound barrier. Not an easy ult to charge, but that's it.
Well, they know that their opponents just burned some ults, so I guess maybe some switches came out knowing that it's going to be a dry fight. Roadhog is one of those instant kill characters that can make something happen. Jake getting off of the Farah now, and Rob 420 getting onto Anna could generate a nano in the span of one fight, but Jake is going to get surrounded. Rob 420 actually the first one to go down, and Selfless are hanging on.
Self-destruct comes out. That's going to quickly deal with the Rhine shield. Hops back into it. DeFran still holding the tactical visor in a very back position. Nobody pushing the cart currently. A staggered offensive maneuver. Michael 3D finding the pick there on Super is going to bring him down. Still, DeFran hasn't had to use this tac visor. They're even going to commit the sound barrier, basically forcing this into their last fight. No res available as they don't have the Mercy any longer, and that's all she wrote, it looks like, for this offense. They will not be able to complete the map.
Yeah, I'm surprised those 3 attackers lived as long as they did in the background, kind of 3v5, but a sound barrier came out, attack visor was used as well, and the 3v5, of course, went the way of the defenders with those closer spawns, and they got mopped up just as the rest of their team arrived. So really smart of LG.Evil actually to kind of break it down into 2 overwhelming odds fights rather than allowing LG.Evil to get all together for one last attempt, and that visor did shut the door on the attacking team, LG.Evil. So now we're going to flip sides, of course. Selfless looking pretty good there. I would say the second stretch was all about LG.Evil, but they were okay on the first stretch, and obviously were able to seal the deal in the final stretch without giving up that 3rd point. So Selfless, all they have to do is complete the map and take a 1-game lead here if they can.
All right, Joshy, so if you're in the shoes of LG.Evil, thoughts overall on how that first side went, and do they need to make any adjustments here now as they switch the defense? It looks like they're staying on the Pharaoh Mercy. Thoughts on that, and then anything else that you might like to see out of this team? Is they don't need like a perfect defense, but it has to be pretty staunch if they want to take the map.
Well, always, if you want to defend this correctly, properly, I'm trying to say both words at once. If you want to defend, you basically need to rotate your ultimates efficiently and wisely. You never want to use like 4 ults to win an already won fight. For example, you want to try and win off of just 1 or 2 if you can, since defenders, of course, always have the spawn disadvantage through the first half of the map. Really, you just want to try and get early picks as well to give yourself a chance at building ults in general. If the attackers get the first couple of picks, they're going to snowball those ultimates and typically win that first point. So Dorado, a lot of this has to do with line of sight just around that choke point. I think Jake did a pretty good job attacking as Pharah. He can obviously do a good job defending as well with the line of sight blocking that he's got available in that first stretch. So it's really DeFran's job, I think, here to make sure that Jake can't keep the attackers under his thumb.
Yeah, a bit tougher on offense as well until you can get control of the high ground as you start in a disadvantaged position. But DeFran quickly moving out. Sinatra's going to try and lead the way up the staircase. It's a pretty back defense. They're not trying to hold an archway or up on high ground, holding all the way back in the market area. So DeFran's able to get some poke out. Sinatra just clears out the staircase, and we will see DeFran out in front. The cart moving freely. Less contest and a little more aggressive offense from Selfless, less contest from the defense thus far. Now Jake looks to make his move and isolate DeFran. He seems to be public enemy #1. That is a clear game plan for the team, but unable to kill him off, at least not yet.
Oh yeah, Soldier definitely the biggest offensive threat, and if they can keep Sinatra away from the healers, keep Train and Sinatra both pinned down, both tracers are going to be vitally important here.
Man,
Sinatra going
work.
down. Yeah. Roadhog's just got an eye for the Tracer. He's protecting his healers very well.
Yeah, he's been able to punish Sinatra repeatedly in this series. Now, that said, Sinatra is close to the pulse bomb, and still the cart moving well, although we've seen some decent pickoffs. So will they mount a defense? They're close to a resurrect, but Sinatra hunting for that opening kill to get things underway. Sneaking up, poking out, does get eyes on the Winston. Nobody even touching the cart right now for the defense. There's your hook to start things off, and it is on the Reinhardt. Pulls him out of position, but that's really it. No follow-up as of yet. Stick not going to quite connect. Still the Mercy alive, trying to protect that Winston, but they're already almost at the point, and they lose Rob 420 at 98% on his ultimate. He won't get it off for this fight. Big disadvantage now for the defense. Can Jake hold the line without the help of his pocket? Nail Sinatra. They are stabilizing here, and if Mercy can get back, this is a pretty awful position for the cart to be stuck in with a long walk for the offense to get back to the fight.
You're definitely right about that, and I was just speechless there. I think that's something you don't see all the time, the cart moving freely from the choke all the way to the checkpoint, but that's because LG.Evil were actually employing strategy. LD, it's crazy. They actually split up 3 and 3. They had Tracer, Pharah, and Mercy on one side, while the tanks and the other healer, Lucia, were on the other side, and they just collapsed onto the cart. Barrage gonna open things up with a nice kill on Dak.
Yeah, the trade, though, might be the loss of their hog as Vol got hooked in. Mercy Res is going to come out. Big ultimates available. Kresnik, though, will not get off the Earth Shatter. Nano Boost now deployed, and it's up to DeFran to do the heavy lifting here. He's going to bring down 3, as he so often does, but now the Primal Rage to stall things out can beat him down And Super will get the finish. Now needs to get away. Train trying to come back to the point. Has a pulse bomb soon. And Sinatra finding the hook mid-cast animation on the pulse bomb. He doesn't actually lob it out. Will he go back in? Still staggering and still holding this cart. Just chucks it on the ground. Won't connect, unfortunately. Here comes Kresnik again. Has the Earth Shatter at the ready. Still, though, this cart not moving. This payload being heavily contested. Able to stun under the cart and through. Will find that pesky Tracer. Defaces him and brings him down to Fran. Still working on Jake. The cart not moving. All the while, a really great taste of Selfless's own stall tactics being used against them now. It looks like a passive defense. It is turning aggressive. And with about a minute advantage through the first checkpoint, it looks like they'll finally get it, Josh.
That was so interesting, both of those fights in a row. LG.Evil got 5 kills in the fight before that by using a really good split strategy, kind of squeeze play onto the cart where 3 guys came from both sides. But then the very next fight just looked completely opposite. Sinatra off of the Tracer onto the Roadhog definitely changed the story of this match, where they're not able to power down Sinatra, and the Roadhog survived long enough to allow them to get that checkpoint. And Jake is going to be the first one down to an attacking Roadhog. That is not supposed to happen here.
Yeah, Jake, unfortunately, he was peeking on the far left, but he ran into Hog and into Fran as well, who now comes from the high ground. Is going to nail the Hog before he can take a breather. Trying to deal with Super, who still can't seem to find Fran and will just fly up and down in the air helplessly. Defense Matrix not getting anything done that fight, so just with a single tactical visor, they will secure probably at least halfway to the next checkpoint.
Now I think, if anything, LG.Evil really need to figure out a way to shut down Roadhog, just because Sinatra went from 150 health to, you know, way more, and that instant kill potential. He's up to 600 health with the Roadhog and a whole hog already prepared here. Jake, as a damage amped Pharah, is not enough to really blow up a Roadhog quickly. It's still going to take mass rockets, and he's got that healer Anna to help him out and build nano boost. So it's a tough situation to be in. Jake's going to get hooked in and killed again. How does this keep happening?
Jake does go down, but Train perhaps there to save the day. The dynamic duo for LG.Evil so far able to kill off the Reinhardt. Now Sinatra, despite going for the whole hog, it's going to fall. So Fran stands his ground, but lacks some of that VP front line to keep him alive. He'll be gunned down by Super. They also have a Resurrect for the next fight. It didn't look great with the early pick on the Pharah, but despite Jake going down, they hold.
It's very interesting. Yeah, Jake actually was in the top of the courthouse here, and Sinatra just ran back and fetched him, basically, and caught him on the end of his hook, took him out of the fight, but the defenders had already gotten 2 kills by that point. So LG.Evil looking solid here with 4 ults, including that Resurrect.
All right, who's going to start this party? Super standing on cart, has the self-destruct ready. Jake also with the rocket barrage. The Ryan just coming straight into the fray. He's going to unleash that painful nuke right behind enemy lines, combines it with Jake. Which way do you turn? Do you try to block the barrage, or do you dive from behind to the D.Va mech? What a sick play. Gets 4 kills, empties mechs the D.Va. Now staggering Iman. They are going to pick him off with only a minute to go. One more bad fight for Selfless, and LG.Evil will take Dorado.
D.Va proving her value right there with the quadruple kill ultimate, not to mention the fact she's probably absorbed 10,000 damage by this point and dealt another 15k. D.Va is the jack of all trades, tank that they need to just push out damage, collect threats, all the sorts of things that you need her to do. And Fran's going to open up with a tactical visor on the attack.
Oh, not a great starting position for that tac visor, but Kenny finds the finish here. Coming in, working on the D.Va. They don't have the Resurrect. Rob 420 went down before he was able to get it off, so now perhaps Selfless will get the momentum they need to push this cart all the way through. Train backing off. They are going to reset. Time is still going to be a bit limited here for Selfless. About 2 minutes to push this cart, but they don't have to complete the map, just get a little bit farther, and they will have it in the bag.
They're not going to get it for free, though. They're actually still a meter away from the checkpoint. Ball jumps on the cart with Whole Hog at the perfect time. However, Defran, Kresnik finding the kills they need. Prompt a Resurrect out of Rob 420. Is it going to be enough? Defran still lighting into them from the high ground. Now has a nano boost to work with as well. And guns down Jake. Rob, Ball, Train all down as well. Means they will collect the checkpoint in overtime.
Fortunately, that means this defense won't have a whole lot as far as ultimates go to work with coming down the home stretch here. Minute and a half or so in the bank, but a lot of ultimates ready. They have attack visor. They're close to a pulse bomb. Speaking of which, Sinatra already diving deep towards the enemy spawn. They want to put pressure on constantly. Don't let anyone come out for free. As for the defenders, not much to work with here. A barrage, maybe a super big D.Va bomb could change this. But it's Defran who gets to work first. He's got the tac visor, looking for that Pharah kill. Hasn't quite managed to find her, just swings his visor around wildly. Will finish off Jake, that last sliver of HP. And now bringing down the Diva with no res in sight. Just like that. Attacker's advantage. And it's LG.Evil in a lot of trouble.
Huge advantage, and I know Dufran is usually good for a triple, but this time it was Kresnik hitting 3 with his Earth Shatter, and Sinatra dropped a pulse bomb right onto the stomach of somebody and blew him up. Emong getting 2 Diva kills there against the returning defenders, and that is game 1 in the bag now for Selfless. It was much closer than I thought it might be, 36 seconds to cross that parking spot, but Selfless are going to lead the series 1-0.
Yeah, it felt like they were a little unsure of whether or not they wanted to contest and really stall right before the second checkpoint, Joshy. Like, they were a little slow to go in, and then they committed a lot of ultimates and then still lose that fight. Like, looking back at it, would have been better just to reset and focus on a third-point defense?
Third-point defense can be rough, and I think the first fight went so poorly for them. They didn't really have good timing to get back, and Emong was able to just lob his Diva suit back to kill the first 2 returners. So timing-wise, I think they just got screwed by that last checkpoint, the second checkpoint. That fight really set them back in ultimates and positioning, and Selfless were able to just roll over them.
All right, well, first map now in the book, Selfless. I would say at least slight favorites coming in, proving that for now they're the slightly stronger team on Dorado. They will jump out to a 1-0 lead. LG.Evil will have map selection. That was a really sick play by Super, though, because the Rhine, Kresnik, like, dove him to try and zone him out. I think he even went for a charge, and so he sees the Rhine's out of position. He's like, they have no shield. I'm just going to lob my Diva bomb in, and then you come with the barrage from the front, Jake, and they're pretty screwed. So I was impressed by that micro moment of teamwork from LG.Evil, but Selfless overall still a little more gas left in the tank. They'll take the map. So map number 2, Joshy, what are you thinking?
Well, it looks like Jake wants to pick Ilios. And I will also reiterate for you guys that the tiebreaker map for today's games is also Ilios, so we may be seeing it
really?
more than once today. Yeah, we may be tired of Greece by the end, but Ilios is going to be their pick. So this, again, changing modes can definitely be a nice way to kind of either punch up against a team that you're not favored against, just to mix it up a little bit, or show that you are the stronger deathmatch style players. And LG.Evil, just a very slight loss on Dorado there. They're putting all their chips on Ilios here, saying that they're going to be able to beat them in a heads-up battle rather than the payload style.
Obviously, a lot of great Pharah Mercy play possible on this map, and we have seen it just be a staple for LG.Evil, not just on Ilios, but pretty much on every map. And it looks like, Joshy, as we head into Ilios, they are going to be starting off on that Pharah Mercy. Do you think is that the big consideration here, or any other reason why they might want this particular control point map?
Just here on the well, Pharah makes a lot of sense, just because environmental kills are going to be plenty as long as you're actually fighting on the point. There's really not a whole lot you can do about it with most characters. So Pharah on the well is probably her best point of the 3. Ruins are a little bit more open, can be harder to stay afloat, and the last point, the lighthouse, can be very difficult just to get rockets into the point itself because it's covered. So if any Pharahs were going to pop out, I would expect to see them here. Selfless are going to stick with their Selfless composition trademark and keep everyone exactly where they are. Dufran, I mean, if it's not broken, you don't fix it, right? They're winning the group 8 maps to 1, something like that, 9 maps to 1 now. So they're just going to stick to their guns and keep fragging out.
And to be fair, like, I thought LG.Evil had the best game plan that we've seen yet for dealing with him through the first, like, 3/4 of that stage. They just couldn't finish the job on Dorado, but they definitely are respecting Dufran with the way they're playing and really trying to focus him.
Yeah, they know he's the biggest threat. Boop into the pit already. Kresnik had to shield up, but the rocket landed right behind him, popped him right into the well. That's a 6v5 battle for LG.Evil, and Jake is going to capitalize on it further with a nice kill onto Anna.
Yeah, Dufran's going to go down as well. Jake already with a rocket barrage, so finds that initial boop on the Rhine. Now they're just going to leave Baby Diva alone behind enemy line. Sinatra's also trapped there. He'll get dove and likely finished off too, so some stagger action. Should be an easy 20+% before we even see a second contest attempted. And on top of that, they have a Resurrect very soon.
You think about how much damage that is against the sinking of Reinhardt, basically. You're taking out 500 of his own health and a 2,000 health shield in one E. Like, it's an incredible way to start a fight when no one has ultimates. There's no chance of them really battling back either. So excellent start here for LG.Evil in the next battle. About to begin here. Dufran's very close to attack visor already.
Yeah, as far as ways to deal with that tech visor, a bit lacking. Another boop, though, and again he finds the Rhine.
Oh,
Jake,
no.
you animal. He kills Kresnik off again. The point being contested about halfway there. Comes in with the Rocket Brush. Ooh, will get dealt with, though. And now Defran with the Tac Visor. He tries to come back into the fight, but that is the Resurrect. Available and committed by Rob420. Dies a second time. Defran now says, okay, my turn. But who will he find? So far, everybody hiding nicely. Winston diving in, just trying to zone him back a little bit. Good drop the beat. Keeps things in fighting shape, but Super gets slept. Will he be able to get off the Primal Rage? Looks like he will. He might get some boops of his own if they're not careful. Starting to deep fry the Ana. Brings Michael 3D down. Turns back for the Ryan. Will roast him too. They hold the point. Now it's 70%.
2 Kresnik boops equals 1 barrage, I guess, when ult percentage, and Jake just let them have it, and Rob420 quick on the trigger there to bring Jake into the battle, but they were just finding individual kills. They had Train off to the side as Tracer, just shooting people as they came in, and
he
Jake
went for it
was
again.
Negated. He went for it again, didn't quite make it this time.
But you gotta admire the persistence here from Jake as he's gonna move in on high ground. He gets to Fran first, his arch nemesis. There is no mercy on the enemy squad, so they're gonna have a big power play coming into this, what could be the final fight on this first stage of Ilios, looking for additional boops. The monkey gets to work, banging around the Reinhardt inside. He'll be forced to unleash his ultimate, but not in a great position. Now bringing down Michael 3D. I don't even know if Defran gets back in time, attempting again to knock him into the well. Won't quite do it, but Defran staggered from the team. A complete stomp thus far, as they are very close to securing this first stage.
Not Kresnik's greatest game. Jake is going to try and finish the job here. Blowing up that D.Va suit should mean Baby D.Va won't last too long. Emong, of course, a great player, could last forever, but no, not today. It's going to be 99-0 for the first point on the well, and LG.Evil seem to have picked their map wisely here. Jake showing off as a superstar. Kresnik actually missed that last Earthshatter as well, but it was kind of a desperation moment, so I won't blame him too much, but not his best round for sure.
Is this where, if you go back to well, do you consider not playing Ryan on that map? Maybe playing something that has a little more mobility? They almost always seem to run Kresnik on Ryan, but is it that bad? Like, I guess we'll find out. I'm just curious if they consider a switch up.
Well, I see Emong moving to the D.Va. That is what I would have suggested for Kresnik. Keep the Roadhog for Emong and switch Kresnik to D.Va, if anything, just to be able to eat some of those rockets, eat some of that Tracer fire that's coming in constantly, and kind of... I feel like the Reinhardt shield mostly isn't working because his teammates aren't really with him. He's kind of trying to protect the healers, but I think they're off to the sides as well, trying to keep their flankers healthy. So I think the composition works excellently on payload and assault maps, but Ilios well might not be the place to bust it out. Kresnik's still going to stay on the Reinhardt here, so they do have the Earthshatter benefit if he can stay alive.
Vol is going to find that opening pick off as we see Train playing the Widowmaker, trying to find a good hook shot perch to snipe from. Moves into the point. So far, Vol, he's been a big playmaker for the team. Jake is going to find a kill, though, already up to 54% towards the barrage, but he gets slept in a pretty awkward position, straight into the German pile driver. Kresnik will find the kill, and now they can move on to the point. Train's going to need to come up big here as Vol, about to die, does end up dropping. Will he find those headshots? Looking for the Ana, nails one. Can he find more? Demecking the D.Va, and now turning back onto the ride, who's dangerously low. Goes for the charge, gets gunned down with the help of Super. Another shot by Train, connecting again. Sick play from the Widow.
Nothing Widow likes better than being in a fight where you have more teammates than they do. I think it was like a 5v3 where Widow really started popping off, and then she just had all the freedom to lay into them. And now with the reset, Train does have the visor available to give everyone wall hacks, so he can stay safe on his own, as Sinatra should be coming in here with the pulse bomb. Who is actually in charge of shutting down the Widow? That is the big problem. Emong and Sinatra most likely going to be trying to dive her.
Does lob out the pulse bomb, not going to find anything. Meanwhile, a little bit more on point is Vol, who gets the hook, but the Rhine shield there. Good rotation by Kresnik as he's able to protect his Tracer for now, but Jake, he finds the triple kill, comes in with the barrage, making a quad, onto Defran, and now back to Kresnik, just all over the place. And LG.Evil, a real multi-threat lineup here. Like, you're talking about shutting down Widow, and it's just as soon as we start to watch Train, it's Jake who's coming up with 4 or 5 kills.
Yeah, Jake and Rob420 are playing basically bouncer for Train's Widowmaker. If they go anywhere near Train's side of the map, they intercept them, and you also have the Winston to be able to respond very quickly with Super. So everything's built around making Widow a viable pick here on the Ruins, and that's why the enemy team is not for sure playing Pharah. But Tactical Visor from Defran going to lead things off. There's a nano boost on him as well.
Does manage to find Train, now turns onto a Vest. The Defran show is back in theaters. And with that, should be able to, it looks like to recapture the point, though Rob does get up the Resurrect. He quickly falls, so Jake not going to have the benefit of his Mercy. Needs to find a deal with Defran very early in this fight, or he's going to get run over. But Sinatra gives him the old pistol whip. We'll find the kill. Even poking Avast as he jumps off the ledge to get a little bit of extra ult charge. Has the pulse bomb.
This kind of goes back to the very first fight. I wanted to say something earlier, just wasn't time. Selfless had a position to step onto the point to prevent LG.Evil from grabbing that first percentage in the very first place, and this incredibly long extended fight has yielded them 77%. Could have been as low as 45, I think, just from that first battle. But here we are again. Vol is going to get a hook into Emong's Diva suit to get us started.
Yeah, he also has the whole hog. If he can demax that Diva, would be a big opening to knock some people potentially off the ledge. It's Kresnik, though, finding the hammer, now looking for the charge. He gets the hog, but the hog counters Vol, going back to work. I'm not trapped in here with you, he says. You're trapped in here with me. We'll kill off the Ryan, and now leaping onto the point of super. He's got the Primal Rage, working on Emon. Will finish him off, takes him out of the suit. Defran coming back to the point, but did end up dropping previously. So now, 78%, and they have pretty good positioning here. A decent shot to go up 2-0 on this best-of-5 map.
Well, the Reinhardt versus Roadhog avatar battle that just took place kind of made the point fight secondary, but Train and Jake just slammed everyone on the point. It was really just an easy mop-up for them, it looked like. So 95%, this could be the final battle here. They're going to commit everything onto Defran, but he gets taken out so quickly by Vol.
However, they lose their Pharah. There's the Resurrect to bring things back. So now the power play for LG.Evil in overtime with the point under the control. Kresnik trying to deal with a three-dimensionally moving Pharah with a 2D shield. It ain't going to happen. He goes down. His super will help finish off a few on the point. Train gets one last pick on Dahak. And with that, a 2-0 advantage. LG.Evil doing work here on Ilios.
Again, that was a convincing battle. I think Selfless managed to grab the point back one time by committing a lot of ultimates, and after that, it was just not enough. They tried to do it again at the end there with the Nano Defran visor, but again, just not enough. I think I'll definitely be watching Sinatra more on this round to see if he can kind of pick up the slack. Defran obviously getting focused incredibly hard means Sinatra really has to have a big day, and so far it's just not happening here on Ilios. We could be seeing a Game 3 very soon here if they can't figure out what needs to change. Defran, I mean, the Nano Visor is a powerful tool. They're going to switch him off to Genji, and so now they don't even have the hit scan to deal with Jake.
Defran switched. I think that's a victory in and of itself for LG.Evil. You know, like, how often have we seen him not playing Soldier? It feels like probably like 95% of their playtime in this tournament has been Soldier. Now, I haven't seen much of his Genji, but I'm sure he's quite proficient at it. Is it as good as dealing with the Pharah, though? Not so much. He already takes a rocket to the face, has to back away, and Jake just having free reign in the skies.
Nails the Ana as well, and this is a Pharah's dream, really. You've got a Pocket Mercy. There's no other Pharah you have to mess with. There's no Soldier out there. There's no McCree or Widow. No counters at all. Jake, I don't know how they plan on beating him. They just have to win the ground war, I suppose, but Vol is doing such a good job as Roadhog. Even that's proving difficult.
Well, they do manage to find Jake, and it's actually Defran who brings him down. Then Sinatra lands the sticky on Vol, and just like that, it doesn't look great, but they make it work. And they do it by taking the fight indoors. They're generally sticking to those more open spaces, but got caught in a bad position inside.
Yeah, that's an easy cleanup there for Selfless. A bit surprising. I think Jake and Vol went down super quickly, but the Pulse Bomb from Sinatra actually came in big, killing the Roadhog on the point. So everything working out as it should. Dak a bit aggressive here on the Lucio. I'm always scared for the Lucio who's out in front of his tanks, but Dak I do trust to stay alive. Here, Presnik is going to fall first, but so does Vol, and Michael 3D down as well to that barrage. Defran with the Nano Blade out.
Oh, he gets one. He's going to be looking here for more, has the dash reset, but too far away. Jake does a good job of maintaining high ground position, working on Sinatra on the point. Both of these fairly mobile but squishy DPS. Oh! Pow! Right in the kiss. Nails Defran midair. Gengu come back here, he says, and with that, they will cap the point. I mean, it feels like Selfless have to play disgustingly sick to deal with this Pharah just because of the hero matchup.
I think, yeah, that's a fair assessment. They just have to... They know that she's there, right? They know that Pharah's going to have the ability to boop them off at any time and plant rockets directly on their healers. They just have to deal with it with this Reinhardt shield protecting the healers and things like that. So as they stay on the point here, they're about to flip it 40% to 20. LG.Evil dying on the way in.
Here's the Resurrect. Will they get much done? They have a whole hog bowl. Though he gets knocked off the map, tries to pull Sinatra, but not able to do it, unfortunately, as he got line of sight blocked, and Vol shed some tears at all chats. Suddenly Selfless making it work.
That was really interesting. And yeah, they do have the cover from the Pharah. Once they actually have the point on their side, it's nice to be able to hide in that actual building. But here come Jake and Rob420 again overhead. No hook is going to be able to reach that. So Michael 3D on Ana might actually be responsible for trying to take her out. And Train is going to be the first one down to Dufran's Genji, so that actually helps out Selfless immensely.
Dufran and Sinatra finding these individual pickoffs, so it's always a power play, as you mentioned, in the ground war, even if Jake's still alive. It's just him. And when it's only the Pharah Mercy, they're not really a big threat with healers in play for the side of Selfless. So now a reset. Bull looking for the hook. There's the deflect to counter it, but they are going to drop the beat. Here comes the engage. Pole hog going in. Pulse bomb lobbed onto the point. Didn't get the stick. He just kind of dove right through him, and now Dufran unleashes the blade. He hears that Pharah. He can't find him, but that's okay. Iman will take him down. Rob420 falling as well. That means no resurrect in overtime. Unless Train pulls out a miracle, they're not taking this stage.
This was the best Dufran plus Sinatra team up that we've seen yet. They bounced literally from target to target there, like they were the same player essentially. So really good communication there to sweep things up. Dufran did have the sword out, so having Sinatra pour in that tracer pistol damage on whatever is getting cut for huge amounts of damage makes sense that they're going to go down. And Selfless, they hang on. I think the cover of the point literally is like what protected them the most from Jake. The fact that they're just like, all right, we can't kill the Pharah reliably, let's not even try, let's just make sure that we win the ground war, and then if Jake's the last person standing, it won't be such a big deal. And one of the biggest fights, I think, that took place there on the Lighthouse is when Rob420 committed the res after losing 3 people on the way to the point. That's a really bad position to be in when all 6 of Selfless were there to stare down the people getting rezzed. They didn't last long at all.
Ooh, so coming back to well now, and Dufran, he's going to mix it up. It wasn't Genji, which he was showing, though. He's going a la carte Pharah, no mercy to back him up. Can he have his own big boobs?
Having Pharah against Pharah Mercy is like nightmare level, trying to deal with either one of the Mercy or the Pharah, so he is going to plant some rockets directly on him. It does only take 2 back-to-back rockets. Mercy cannot heal enough to get her up through that, so Dufran is going to find the first kill, but go down himself.
Dufran making some big plays here on a bevy of heroes as Iman is going to follow suit. He manages to connect for the Rob420 kill, as well as the Lucio. Takes both supports out of the fight. Still Bull stalling on the point as long as he can. Train now does have a pulse bomb with a stick. Could maybe turn the tides. Doesn't quite get the pick, unfortunately, though. Looking for that Lucio, who's low, is finished off just barely by Jake, but immediately Dufran takes him down. Again, cuts off the Pharah's wings, brings her back down to earth. All right, apparently Dufran's so good that he can beat a Pharah Mercy as just a Pharah.
They were just taking it easy on LG.Evil. They didn't want to break out the Dufran Pharah that's now 2-0 against Jake's, even with that Mercy involved. So we'll see if I can keep track of that score as we go on. But the attacking team, LG.Evil, have another opportunity to break in here. Kresnik really just holding the shield up for his Lucio and Ana.
Yeah, Jake still dueling with Dufran as he fearlessly charges into the fight. Gets hit again, goes down again. These direct hits are off the chain. My God, Michael 3D meanwhile finding kills with the biotic grenade. Dufran proceeds to take down Rob420, and Iman gets the stagger hook pick off on Train. Things going from bad to worse here for Selfless. As soon as Dufran swapped off that soldier, everything improved.
Yeah, actually, that did happen, which is kind of crazy, considering Dufran's skill level on that soldier, especially on payload maps. But again, that's just the nature of the map. Dufran's not going to have the same safety that he is on attacking or defending Dorado, for example. So we have the Pharahs back in play again. Dufran trying to keep Jake from even entering his space. We've got a whole hog here from Emong on the low ground, though, trying to blow up this Winston as quick as possible.
D.Va trying her best to save him, has to commit the Primal Rage to stay alive. There's the D.Va self-destruct, trying to bash that Roadhog off the cliff. He will do so, and now turning back for the Rhine, trapping him inside, but doesn't quite have the firepower to bring him down. They have a resurrect for this fight. May need to use it just to secure it. Going for the boop off. It isn't going to knock Kresnik into the pit, but it does set up a nice direct hit on Sinatra, bringing him down. Now turning back for Michael 3D, carving up the Selfless squad. They will blow the res, but it seems like it might be required as Kresnik finally finished off by the Pharah. That took a while, but Jake gets the job done.
Jake got 3 kills in that span, but Dufran did kill Rob420, the Mercy. So it's going to be a flip here now for LG.Evil for the first time, but they're low on health and healing potential, so they're going to need to back off immediately, and it might just be Selfless running right back in here. There probably will be some fireworks.
All right, Dufran, are you serious? He has been winning this battle 1v2, all but one exchange going his way the entire map. What an absolute beast. Now the Winston falling into well. All of a sudden, what was 2-0 looks like it's going to be 2-2. And should they take the final stage here at Ilios, it will be a 2-0 sweep in the series.
Very interesting how this point ended up. Dufran got the kills there onto Jake 3 or 4 times. It looks like the trickle return here is not going to work out either here for LG.Evil. Obviously too much firepower loaded up into these small chokes, but we are going to a round 5. Very surprising, I think, based on how this match started out with that 100-0.
This is just absurd. I don't know what you do at this point. Great series, very back and forth. I think what's a little scary for me if I'm LG.Evil though, it's Selfless is showing like, yeah, we can kind of just play whatever we want and we're so good we'll make it work. Whereas for the most part, it's been the one Pharah Mercy strategy for LG.Evil. Now the curveball could be Train on the Widow, but I don't think we're going to be seeing that Pharah again. Dufran actually showing Genji, so not going to be as easy a Widow start as it was last time around, I imagine, Joshy.
Well, Train definitely does make a Dufran Pharah less likely, as you mentioned. Genji does make a lot more sense. And Dufran, the only time they killed Dufran's Pharah, LD, do you know the best way to kill a Pharah? Just off the cuff?
Headshot her?
Wait for her to barrage, because that was the only time Dufran died, is when he hit barrage, he died instantly. So being held in place is not too great for the Rocket Pack champion.
All right.
Train's gonna be the first one down.
Quick pick there by Dufran, sniping on the Genji, out-sniping the Widow, and now diving forward as the dash can go for this quick pick. We'll get the Lucio, and now up into the skies to try and deal with the Pharah Mercy. Again, Selfless getting out to a hot lead in a clutch moment. Can they finish the trick, though? Jake yet to be able to kill off Sinatra, and all of a sudden, it looks like the point likely going, indeed will go, the Selfless way, with Sinatra getting some cleanup kills here, working back towards the pulse bomb. Dufran closing in on what could be a Nano Blade, with Michael 3D already at 60%.
Sinatra really going off in that last fight to make sure that the staggered kills give them a ton of added potential there. Basically, the Selfless strategy has been, all right, Dufran, you kill someone right away so that we can start with the point. Once that happens, then we're all good to go. Emong throws out a hook, doesn't quite connect. Sinatra in the back line really just pestering them, making their return difficult.
Jake pretty close to a rocket barrage here. Goes for the concussive push-off, doesn't quite find it, but will isolate Michael 3D, but now comes the blade. Who's he going to get? Lucio to start, and now jumping back for the hog. Will finish him off as well. Trapped up in the skies mid-barrage was Jake, but he got 3 kills for that, and they have the resurrect, so with that big barrage, Dufran on his own. He could try to stall here, though, on the point as well as Sinatra, but they are pretty staggered, and they are going to end up giving up the point. Took a lot to take it back.
It did take quite a lot to get it back, and Ruins is just one of those points that can be kind of difficult just because of the architecture of everything, and they know exactly when you're coming in just because it's so wide open. And Train was playing that Widowmaker for a while, of course, did swap over to the Tracer at some point there. He's got a Pulse Bomb ready to go against Sinatra's, so if anything comes out here, I think Nano Boost and Winston could be something to watch out for since Dufran does not have his ult available. Emong down, that's not great.
Pulse bomb ready as Hog gets slapped mid-hole Hog. Now it's going to be up to Train. While that Hog is sleeping to find kills, he will bring down one support, dealing nicely with the Ana. The stick is in, but no kill just yet, turning back for the Lucio. Can't quite finish the job. All the while, Dufran, who's back on his customary soldier, up to 40% ult, is getting some position here on the high ground. Jake really needs the pressure of trying to shut him down. D.Va charging in. So too is the Tracer, but yet to kill him off, and indeed he will survive. Jake only now arriving at the point. They get about 50% back, but then they lose it.
Exactly the same amount of percentage on both sides. It means we're likely going to see an epic final battle here. It is 2-2, and Selfless are in a position to take the entire BO3 series if they can just stay on the point for 40% more. Things are about to get tense as Jake and company come in here. Barrage is at the ready, but nothing else really to work with. Rob 420 is going to need to stay alive long enough to get that res to really give them a chance here.
Oh, gun down.
Already. Oh no.
Michael 3D and Dufran tag teaming that Pharah nicely. They will get the kill. Now Dufran with the tack visor, just trying to D-max super, so he has an opportunity to use it. Rob 420 with the res. Does he want to commit it? No, not going to happen. Door gets slammed as Sinatra screams on by. We'll kill off Bull as well. This is going to be potentially the last fight of Ilios. They have to win it, Joshy, or they're going to end up losing the series 0-2.
I think this is a done deal. They're not very close. Someone's going to have to touch on the point that doesn't want to. It's going to have to be Jake or Rob420 as the first one's back. Lucio might get there, but he's going to get blown up if he is alone. So Jake running in there. I'm surprised they haven't killed him yet. Tac Visor does the job, and Avast and Baby Diva Super are the only ones on the point.
Now they do have a Resurrect to potentially turn this around. They're going to bring back the Diva. She hops back in the mech, tries to stand her ground, is able to hold the point, and Jake comes through. Big barrage, make it 3, but can he finish the job? The Primal Rage, Winston still going. He really wants to focus Sinatra to hack, bring down some of these easier targets low. Not dead yet, finds the kill. They will recap.
Wow.
They do it in overtime. Rob420 playing the hero, 60% towards his next res.
Gotta kill the Mercy. I totally called it for the other team already, but Mercy ended up being the big difference maker directly into the Jake barrage. He got rezzed in such a perfect spot to just jump up and hit Q that they almost, and maybe they planned having Jake die under cover like that just so they could res him and blast their faces off. But now we're in final fight territory again, this time for Selfless. They really need to wrest control back.
Looking for those picks from Train. Hawk is going to end up going down, so they lose their Lucio. It was close to a sound barrier. They lose Michael 3D, who had a nano boost. Not a great way to start the fight. If they can stagger to Fran here, they might not even get another fight. Oh, tickled by the rockets, bouncing away. Time really down to the wire. Sinatra at 11 HP. Oh, super staggers him as well. Really not looking great for Selfless. We might be headed to a third map, though. As I say that, the jinx might be in because down goes Jake. Volvo still hanging on. They're going to commit the res. They know this is likely the last fight. They have a sound barrier to work with as well. Press your Q buttons, boys, say the squad of LG.Evil, and they charge on in. Pocketing that hog nicely. They have a self-destruct. Jake is going to find the opening pick. Sinatra lays it with the sticky. Will kill off Bull. Is there more? Rocket barrage, but nothing to really shoot at. It's Train who finds the kill instead. He goes down in turn, though. Iman able to hook him. Chaos erupts on the point. Jake has no res to work with. Already committed it previously. Has to stay alive. He's going to end up going down. Jake will fall as well. It's crumbling here all of a sudden for LG.Evil.
And Defran got another Visor. He has a Visor every fight because he's just so good when he actually is allowed to stay alive and destroy things. Selfless Gaming and take the series 2-2.
Oh, that's
2-0.
That's heartbreaking.
On a 2 Ilios.
Emong with the play of the match. I mean, it's really a lot of individual plays you could have pointed to. Train at a pretty big one. We saw multiple huge rocket barrages from Jake to Fran, going off on 3 different heroes this series, especially I think the Pharah.
Environmental kills really add up for the play of the match honors there, and yeah, I think the Pharah Mercy combo was so good for LG.Evil, but they just could not make it work. Defran MVP on 3 different characters, as you said, basically brought Selfless the win, and they are going to exit the group 5-0, beating every opponent and a map score of 10-1. That's pretty insane.
All right, so you know, I was hoping for the game 3. I'm not gonna lie; these two teams feel very evenly matched. Even though Selfless wins, it feels like only by a slight margin. A lot closer than the Rise Nation Selfless series we saw. But with that said, Joshi, LG.Evil do drop the set here, so that moves them down to 3-2 in the groups. Selfless 5-0. They will have the #1 seed, and should Rise Nation, I guess you could say, take care of business and beat CLG. They will win 2nd place in the group. So crazy tiebreak scenario, most likely averted. Though
well, actually,
there's one other one now.
Yeah, I guess there is another possibility here. LG.Evil, if CLG beat Rise, then we'll have 3-2 teams that all beat each other. So it is still our last match of the day. Could definitely shake things up, but we'll see when we get there. Actually, Gale Force Esports versus Complexity is going to be our next match.
All right. So any final thoughts to close out the series before we head to a break?
Well, Selfless, they won by a hair's breadth, so LG.Evil should not feel bad about losing the series. One more ultimate, one way or the other, could have definitely won both Dorado and Ilios. So happy to see LG.Evil get through to the playoffs just so we can get to see more of them soon.
All right, guys, he is Joshi. Follow him on Twitter at AskJoshi. I'm LD. We'll be back after a short break for our second match of the day as we look to wrap up Group A. It's Gale Force taking on Complexity. You're watching Overwatch PIT North American Championships. We'll be back.